Georgia Fuddle, the Great Detective. Chapter 2. Suspicious People. Georgia had decided to find out about all the different things that detectives have to do. She went to find her brother Petrock to see if she could borrow his tablet. He was lying on his bedroom floor playing a game on it. "Why would I lend it to you?" he sniffed. "You'll only break it. Ask for one of your own for your birthday." "My birthday's months away," moaned Georgia. "Oh, be a sport and lend me it, please." "Be a sport and buzz off," he sniffed. "Use Mum's computer in the study." Georgia didn't bother to argue. She went downstairs to the room her mum called her working sanctuary. Reverend Fuddle was out at a meeting, so the study was nice and quiet. Georgia was soon looking at her favourite singer's latest video. After that, she looked at some things about detectives. It was all a bit confusing, but one thing Georgia did learn was that you have to look for suspicious things and people. "I'll go into the village and look for some suspicious people," she said out loud, just to make herself feel important and like a detective. Another thing Georgia learnt was that detectives need a phone and a notebook. She found an empty notebook and a spare pencil in her mum's desk. She couldn't have a phone because her mum and dad said she didn't need one. She also had to think of somewhere to keep the notes on all her cases. It should have been a big cabinet, but she decided that her doll's house would be just as good. A doll's house had different rooms that you could use to put the notes on different types of crime. Georgia ran back upstairs to clear all the furniture out of the doll's house and the odd doll. "Georgia!" It was her dad calling for her. "I'm going to the village to do some shopping. You can come too. The exercise will do you good." Georgia could think of lots of better ways to get healthy exercise, but she went because it would enable her to keep a lookout for anyone or anything suspicious. She tucked her notebook and pencil into her satchel, put it over her shoulder, and off she went. Tiddlepond wasn't very busy that morning. Many people seemed to have gone away on holiday. Georgia kept her eyes open for the suspicious things as her dad walked down to the shops. Halfway to the village, they met Gina, the school cleaner. She was hurrying down the road, and her tatty green coat was flapping in the breeze because she was in such a hurry. As soon as she saw Georgia and Mr. Fuddle, she halted on the spot. "Good morning, Mr. Fuddle. Good morning, Georgia. Are you enjoying the holidays?" "Yes, thank you, Gina," replied Georgia. "I'm busy being a detective." "That's nice." "Oh, don't look at my tatty coat, Mr. Fuddle, or you will think I'm a real scruff. I'm just off to get a new one." Mr. Fuddle smiled politely. "I hadn't noticed your coat," he said. "I hope you find a nice new one. Maybe they'll have one at Margaret's Modes in the High Street." "I was going to give it a try," answered Gina. "It's high time I changed my appearance." Georgia pricked her ears up immediately. Why on earth did Gina need to change her appearance? Georgia thought she had better keep her eyes peeled. When Mr. Fuddle called in at the village grocer's shop, Georgia asked if she could wander up and down the high street to look at the other shops for something different. "Well, yes," her dad answered. "But don't expect me to buy you any tat, because I won't." Georgia was a bit annoyed. She never bought tat. Only interesting stuff, and her dad should know that by now. She hid her annoyance behind a big smile. "Thanks, Dad," she grinned as she turned and left the shop. As soon as she was on the high street, she looked up and down to see if there was anything suspicious. There was a poodle tied to a lamppost outside the butcher's. It was sitting and looking at the shop door. A man in a brown overcoat hurried into the bank. Georgia walked quickly towards the bank. Perhaps the man was a bank robber. As she came level with the door, the man came back out again and bumped straight into her. "Do be careful," he growled, dropping to the floor to pick up the plastic change bags that he'd dropped I'm so sorry, apologised Georgia, helping to collect the ones that were blowing away. Thank you for helping, the overcoat man said. But please look where you're going next time. With that, he turned off and went back to wherever he had come from.